Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities are Mother Nature's recipes.
To Prince Rupert, yay, big step going north. And not only are we in Prince Rupert, we're at the Prince Rupert Yacht Club. So never seen so many yachts with 300 horsepower engines on them. We look up and there's the Breakers pub. Sounds like a good plan to me. So up the ramp we go, and we run right into a couple of signs that make me feel like, this is a dangerous town. But then maybe it's only dangerous because people read the next sign and go, this is a good plan. Clarity, cannabis, new to me. So we decide we're going to have an adult beverage in the sunshine because Prince Rupert, the weather changes every 30 seconds, it seems like. But great place to be, have a beverage and settle in, because it's just time to get off the boat for a little while. Cheers.
This is just a small glimpse of the Prince Rupert Rowing and Yacht Club, and we'll show some more in one of our next videos. This morning we woke up to two things: more rain and a very large yacht docked right next to us. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and this is what this area looks like right now. And in about an hour, it's gonna look like the same place with about 4,000 people in it. So the Ruby Princess just tied up.
So this is Cow Bay. This is kind of like the Government Street, Granville Street of Vancouver, and this is where all the shops and restaurants, fancy places are. Touristy. Not cruise ship touristy, just touristy. So we just had coffee at the Cappuccino coffee shop, and we're out for a little wander through the area. The whole area is, just because of the name Cow Bay, has all these little cow items in it, and somehow it's related to London. So this is turn of the century, was where the railroad came in back in the early 1900s. A lot of these buildings are from the early 1900s, 1920, 1930s, right after the wartime. But even the industrial area, like this machine shop with a mural painted on the side, is catchy for the tourists to have a look at. Going back down towards the cruise ships, again, it's not cruise ship touristy. A lot of really nice little boutiques. It's not Diamond International areas to get up and see the Khutzeymateen, and emphasis on a lot of the marine history here. Downtown in the last 5 years since Helly and I were here last has really been revitalized. More of the shops are open, up and running. It doesn't have a down feel to it. Coming back, we passed this Sunken Gardens. Now I know all you Maple Leaf fans have your own sunken garden. This is a little different. This is a really pretty area of downtown that a lot of volunteers look after. Plant flowers, keep it up. A little bit of history behind a courthouse here, but there's no litter, there's no graffiti, there's none of the issues of homelessness here, where you just feel safe walking through here, and it's a very relaxing stroll. Brings us back into Cow Bay again after we were downtown. And this brings us right back down to the marina where the boat is again. And here's a view of some of the high tide area we get here, up to 24 feet in tides.
Our first jobs here in Prince Rupert is to reprovision the boat. This is always a bit of a challenge on a small boat like this because I have limited storage for food. The further north that you come, traveling through some of these small communities, it does become increasingly difficult to find fresh vegetables and fresh fruit. And so we try and get around that by buying tinned vegetables and fruit. And we keep these items underneath one of the seats in our salon. They're out of the way. Up above the stove, I do have a couple of storage cupboards in which I keep things that we tend to access more frequently. So in one of them, I keep tea and coffee, which, as you already know, we tend to go through a lot of these days. In the other side, I keep one of everyday tinned items. I also have a little storage cubby hole, which is next to the sink. Now in this particular area, I keep everything that I have taken, oh for God's sake. We also reprovision dry goods, things like pasta, rice, oatmeal, pancake mix. And these items typically will come in cardboard or paper packaging. And we also reprovision dry goods, things like rice and pasta, pancake mix, and oatmeal. And a lot of time these items, come packaged in cardboard or paper. What I do is I remove them all from that packaging, which tends to hold moisture in a salt air environment and makes the product stale. And I put it all into Ziploc bags, which keeps them dry and fresh. These items I put in a little cubbyhole storage area that I have right by the sink. And again, nothing else goes in here because, first of all, it's next to the sink and water does seep in there when doing dishes occasionally. So I need things to be sort of watertight. And the other thing is it gets hot in there because it's right above the hot water tank. So this way there's nothing perishable in there. I don't know if you can hear in the background. I guess I'll find out when I look at this video. But Ian is outside washing the boat and it is so loud. And every time I go to say something, either he's hosing it down or he's banging something. It's like, ah! Anyway, sorry if there's a ton of background noise, but at least he's washing the boat and I feel slightly guilty for not helping him at the moment. Anyway, the last thing to talk about is the fridge freezer. And so there's always, little annoyances on a small boat, or at least I have a couple of them on this particular boat. And one of them is the fridge freezer. Now, I am super thankful that we do have a decent sized fridge that, can hold a lot of stuff. But the freezer compartment is tiny. So if you put in, a couple of store-bought, steak and ground beef or chicken in its packaging, you'd only get 3 things in there. And so if we buy meats, what we ask the stores to do, first of all, is to freeze it for us. And then I bring it back to the boat and I unpackage it while it's frozen and I seal it in, a vacuum packed bag, and then I can get a lot more into the freezer. And Ian's just dragging the hose across the top of the boat. Hang on a sec. Oh, he's brushing now. Good. So then the fridge itself. It's taken us 4 years to figure out what is the best way to use this fridge, because it's essentially like a chest fridge. So there's no drawers. This is a 2003 20-year-old boat, and you throw everything into the fridge and pile everything in on top of each other. So we do have 3 or 4 shelves in there, but the shelves never used to move because they would get stuck on the control knob or hoses or whatever. You just couldn't move them. So this year I asked Ian to break out his little hacksaw, and he hacked off some of the edges of the shelves. So at least now I can slide them. And I thought, why didn't we do this 4 years ago? Well, I think that's enough of the mundane stuff. So let's get back to showing you some of the highlights of Prince Rupert.
So today we're going to spoil ourselves and get off the boat and do all the comfort things that you're going to miss about the big city. So this is the last Tim Hortons before you hit Alaska, which would make it the last Tim Hortons. We wanted to get out, have a coffee, bagel, all those fun things. Then we're going to go exploring this great walk that goes along the waterfront in Prince Rupert. This whole path was paid for by all the people that trailer their boats here and launch. Those launch fees have gone to this upgrade of a trail. Fantastic bridges, and it's a long about a 3 kilometer walk along the waterfront. Just really enjoyable. So we had to go for a walk. The best part about this, we were told there was a coffee shop at the end of it, so you have to have your rewards, right? Takes you down past the seaplane base, the Coast Guard station, all along the old rail line. And then it's through the crab traps. and out to a coffee shop. Never pass a coffee shop.
Excellent movie. Highly recommend.
Keep going. So we only had one more day here, so it was time to stock the boat up, and we were referenced to this great little butcher shop. So we asked them if we bought some things here, if they would freeze them overnight for us, and they did that. So we bought some meat, and it was a great place to stock up for happy hour too. Cheese, charcuterie board. Never go wrong with too much cheese. These little dumpsters were awesome. They all had great little sayings on them.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities are Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare